Now,
Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
welcome everyone and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. I'm sure you enjoyed the first session of this series. And before we begin the second session, let me tell you more about Dr. Apte. She is one of the most experienced Ayurvedic doctors in the US with more than 40 years of experience. She has an integrated degree in allopathic and Ayurvedic medicine from the Pune University in India in 1973. In addition, she received a master's degree in pharmacology from the University of North Texas in 1991. First, she started her Ayurvedic practice in Dallas, Texas. In 1999, she moved to California. After returning to Dallas to be close to her family, she started the practice here. Last year, she established DFW Ayurveda Center in Coppell, Texas. Her sole focus is on providing the best Ayurvedic health care, including Panchakarma treatments, by bringing Eastern wisdom and Western knowledge together. As a social service, she is offering a free seminar series for seniors. With that, over to you, Dr. Apte.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Hema, and thank you all, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in the audience. Again, as always, let us begin with a prayer. So all of you close your eyes, take a deep, long breath. With each inhalation, balloon the belly. With each exhalation, pull the belly in and continue breathing. And observe your breath. Observe your mind. And when the mind holds on to the breath, it becomes calm and peaceful. It becomes very tranquil. And I'm going to chant a mantra. Asato ma satgamaya tamso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. God, lead us from unreality to reality. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from mortality to immortality. May there be peace, peace, and peace in the universe. And keeping this peace within, gently open your eyes and namaste. Namaste to all, and thank you very much for joining again. So before we start today's topic, I just want to recap about what we talked last weekend. So there will be kind of a link to today's talk. And this is all about health. You know, we want to achieve so many things in life, but what we need to do is we have to be healthy to achieve all our goals. And especially at this age, in our golden years, health is very critical, because we know the aging starts happening faster. And I also mentioned that if you follow the Ayurvedic lifestyle, you can slow down aging and you can be younger longer. So what is this Ayurveda? Ayurveda is the Veda of Ayu. That is the wisdom about healthy living. So Ayurvedic definition of health is very, very different. It's not the absence of disease. It's more on the positive note, is health is maintaining our prakriti, the balance of doshas in our body. At our when we were born, our prakriti is decided that time. So maintaining those dosha balance, having optimum digestion and elimination, having strong tissues on the body, having sharp senses, having very peaceful mind, and very clear thinking. So this is the Ayurvedic definition of health, not only at the physical level, but physical, emotional, and spiritual level. And that's kind of very positive. And remember, having optimum digestion, elimination, strong tissues, peaceful mind, clear thinking, who is going to do it for you? Nobody else, not even your doctor, but it's you. And that's why your health is in your hands and nobody else's. And literally, I will tell you, and we know that our parents, our grandparents lived so long. My grandmother lived till 98. And she did not have any health issue. It's just the old age. No blood pressure, no diabetes, no hypertension, no nothing, just the old age. And we know that all our ancestors lived that long. So if you follow this Ayurvedic wisdom and live that lifestyle, you really will live longer, healthier. Because Ayurvedic principles are based on the universal truth. So we always say that we are the microcosm of the macrocosm. So the whole universe is macrocosm. And we are the miniature part of that macrocosm as a microcosm. Or we also say that as above, so below. So what is in the universe? Same thing is in our body. Same thing in our Vedic system, we always say yatra pinde, tatra brahmande. So what is in this Brahmanda? What is in this whole universe? Same thing is in our, not only the body, but each and every cell also are the kind of similar. We are the replica, a miniature replica of the whole universe. And that's why the energies which control the nature, changes in the nature, same energies work in our body too. And those energies are, like last time we discussed about, Kapha dosha is the humidity in the nature, the water content in the nature. Pitta dosha, the fire content in the nature. And Vata dosha, that is the wind or the wind chill. And I also mentioned that when we watch the weather channel, what do they talk about? It's just the how much is the humidity, what the temperature, and what the wind chill. So how much is the kapha dosha, pitta dosha, vata dosha? And all the functions in our body are controlled. All the systems in the body are controlled by these three doshas. And our goal is to maintain that. And again, one more reality about our life is, one unchanging reality about life is a change. Constantly, life is changing. During daytime also, in the morning is kapha dosha predominant, then pitta, then vata. Again, that cycle repeats in the evening. Even we get seasonal changes. In late winter and spring, it rains a lot, snows a lot. That's why kapha dosha is predominant. During summertime, it's very hot. So pitta dosha is predominant. In fall and early winter, vata dosha, the weather is very cold and windy. And same cycle even repeats in our throughout the life. So from the birth to puberty, we are predominantly in kapha stage. From puberty to menopausal, in the midlife, we are into pitta stage. And in old age, we are into vata stage of life. And I also last time told you that we live in this dualistic world. In spiritual world, we try to go beyond dualism, undualism. But even with this dualistic world, we can make the use of the wisdom of the dualistic world and use the exactly opposite quality what our problem is. For example, if your skin is dry, then what is the dry opposite to dry? Is the moist. So use the oil. So use oil massage for externally and take a little bit more oil internally. So that will balance your dryness in the body. Even same thing, somebody is having very cold, they have circulation problem. Then the cold quality of vata is aggravated. Then keep yourself warm, wear warm clothes, drink warm water, eat warm foods. So simple thing. But unfortunately, nobody talks about these things. So this is Ayurveda's goal is to help people who are healthy, is to preserve their health, and by this simple concept. And again, this simple concept in one liner, Ayurveda says, Vruddhi samanaihi sarvesham viparitaihi viparyaya. That means like increase like and opposite balance. One line, we can live, we can write a big book on this one concept, one liner. But it has so much meaning to that, that if you have any issue, just don't run for the medicine all the time. There are so many things at home. Even for example, if you are feeling cold, then drink ginger tea. Ginger has warming effect on the body. You are adding that ginger powder in warm water. And then if you drink that ginger tea, warm water with ginger, it will create warmness in the body. And that will help you if your body feels very cold, if you have circulation problems, and those kind of things. So simple thing, medicine free, how you can live, that is kind of the goal in Ayurvedic Swastha Vrata. Okay. So that's what we talked about last time. So let me share my presentation with you, because the today's topic is let my food be my medicine. One minute, let me go here, share it. Okay, do you all see this very clearly? Okay, let my food be my medicine. But what is the fact? The fact is exactly opposite. My medicines are my food, because we all end up taking so many medicines. Medicine for cholesterol, medicine for hypertension, medicine for sugar, medicine for thyroid, medicine for sleeping, medicine, vitamins, minerals. So literally, people end up taking handful of medicines every day, and those medicines have adverse effect. Then they end up taking more medicines for those side effects and all that. Because our health care revolves around medicines and revolves around disease care. Remember, we talk about we spend trillions of dollars in healthcare and all, but those trillions of dollars are for the disease care. We don't spend anything for healthcare, because nobody talks about what real health is. Okay, so when we shift the focus, then we will start thinking about how our food can be our medicine. So it literally, we have a long way to go from my medicine or my food to let my food be my medicine. Because medicines always has said that medicines have so many side effects and they don't solve all the problems. That means you may be taking antibiotics to kill the bacteria. You may be taking the pain medication to block the pain. You may be taking some immunosuppressant to take care of your disease problems and all. But actually, medicines don't heal the body. What heals is the food you eat. And unfortunately, we always hear that your food has nothing to do with your health. Take the medicine. But it's exactly opposite. Our food has everything to do with our health, because we always say that you are what you eat. And even before I begin talking about food, let me ask you one question. What is it that is not you? but becomes you. Think about it. What is it? That's not you, but becomes you. And the answer is food. Because all the food you eat, whatever you eat since morning, maybe the fruits, the vegetables, the meat, the grains, the ghee, and all that, it builds tissues in your body. So in our Vedic system, they call it that physical body is called Annamaya Kosha. Think about how the fetus was developed. From that one fertilized cell, the whole newborn baby is developed. From what? From the mother, what mother ate, right? And since we are born, we keep on eating the food because that food is the building block for all the tissues in your body. It could be your skin, it could be your muscles, it could be your bones, it could be your fat, it could be your immune system, you name it. All these cells are produced from the food you eat. And remember, we don't realize, but when we live for 70, 80, 90, 100 years, all these cells do not live that long. Cells have their own lifespan. For example, your skin cells live only for 1 month. Your red blood cells live only for 3 months. Your muscle cells live for 3 years. So each and different tissues, different cells have different lifespan. So this is like we are always, every day we are dying and every day we are taking birth. That means some cells are, which cells are old, they die and the new cells are created in the body. Even in our life, what stages we say is the creation, sustenance, and destruction, right? So the new cells are created for some time, whatever their lifespan is, they do the function, and then those cells die, and the body is creating new cells. So this cycle is happening every day, and that's why we have to eat food because that food is creating our body. And we are so proud of our body. Even food not only helps the body, but it also nourishes our mind and it also nourishes our soul. So it is very important. If you want to create that healthy body, then you think about what you are eating. Are you eating the homemade food? Are you eating using all the organic ingredients? Or are you using the canned food, processed foods, or frozen foods, and all that? Everything makes the difference, and depending on the tissues, then we will have the energy to do everything in life. So it is very, very important that the foods are the building blocks of our body. So for the house, if you want to build a house, you need the wood, you need cement, you need bricks, you need wood, you need all the appliances and all that. Same thing, all the food groups are essential because they are the building blocks of all tissues in our body. And it is very critical what goes in your system is going to show on your body, whether it is healthy or it is sick. So very, very important concept. And second, and that's why in sickness and in health, food is your savior. If you want to stay healthy, it is very important that your body creates good tissues and you stay healthy. Even if you have some health issue, remember, if you have a lot of inflammation, suppose you fracture your bone, what is going to produce more bone cells? The food you eat. If you had the surgery, who is going to heal the wound? Skin cells, muscle cells, is the food you eat. So it is very important whether you are healthy or even you have a disease, you have to supplement it, you have to complement it with the very healthy food. It is very imperative that we eat good food. And that's why, and it's not very elaborate, it's not very expensive. Just rice and dal and chapati and sabji, simple with 1 teaspoon ghee on the top of it. You get all the food groups, body start building the tissues on the body, body starts creating new tissues and all. But what we eat makes all the difference. But Ayurveda doesn't stop there. Ayurveda goes one step further. And Ayurveda says you are what you eat and what you digest. This is equally critical that you may be eating gourmet food, but if your digestive system is not functioning well, then body is not going to build all those tissues. So this Agni is part of Pitta, but when it comes to digestion, Ayurveda has given the name Agni to that. Agni is a fire. And you know, suppose this is summertime, so you all will do the barbecue. And you have to have your barbecue, all the coals and all, you have to have a good fire to that. Cook your vegetables, if you are eating meat and all that. So we have to pay utmost care to keep our Agni going so well. So we have to maintain this optimum Agni. Remember, Agni's function is not only digesting the food, but Agni also takes care of the complex process of creating all the tissues from the food we eat. And that's what I said, that you have to eat good food, so body, it will create good tissues on the body, but it needs to be digested well. And digestion is what? It's a transformation. So digestion does not stop at, okay, I eat fat, is the fatty acid. I eat protein, is the basic, for the carb, is the glucose. Okay, and for the protein, it's amino acid. No, but then in Ayurveda, food is digested into Panchamahabhutas. Then from the food Panchamahabhutas, they need to be transformed into physical Mahabhutas, and then they have to build the tissues. And again, remember, there is so much personalization in these tissues. Suppose somebody has to get the blood transfusion. They cannot just get the blood and just give them. They have to know what is their blood group, what is their RH factor. There are so many factors involved because the tissues in our body are very specific. Remember, somebody had to do the heart transplant, kidney transplant, and body rejects it because our tissues are specific to us. And that's why our Prakriti plays very important role. And that's why this Agni concept is very, very important. And they in Bhagavad Gita also say that Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashrita Pranapana Samayukta Pachamyanam Chaturvidham. Means I am the thumb size pilot light around your navel, that we call as a Manipura chakra, that is very heating chakra. It is around the navel and it digests all kinds of food you eat with the Apana Vayu and Samana Vayu and Prana Vayu and all that. And it is so important that our bala, our energy depends on Agni. Our arogya, our health depends on Agni because body has to build all the healthy tissues. Our life depends on Agni. Our pranas depend on these Agnis, and our job has to create that Agni at the optimum level. And what do? We drink ice cold water, we drink ice cold juices, we eat very cold foods, we constantly munch, and what happens to that Agni? It starts putting off. So it is very important that we follow all these food guidelines and keep this Agni at the optimum level. In Ayurveda, the disease treatment is called Kaya Chikitsa. And the other meaning of Kaya is Agni. So in Ayurveda, it's always the Agni Chikitsa. Our goal is to keep the Agni optimum and remove all the toxins from the body so your body will stay in the healthy state. So much importance is given to this Agni concept. And we always see that majority of the people have some issues, health issues and all, because they have digestive problem. And I also mentioned last time that our digestive system is central to all the systems in the body. It could be your heart, cardiovascular system, it could be your nervous system, it could be your musculoskeletal system, it could be your hormone system, you name it. But everything depends on the digestive system, and digestive system depends on what you eat and how well you digest. So take this concept very clear in your mind that we have to keep this Agni going at the optimum state. Very, very important. And tasmat agnim sada rakshit. So we have to protect that Agni. Also, we have different prakritis. So everybody's Agni also is different. And we know that few people eat and within 3-4 hours, what's for dinner? They are ready to eat again. I cannot eat, I always say that eat only 3 meals and people say, no, I cannot sustain. Every 3-4 hours I have to eat something. So their Agni is very strong. Few people say, I can live even without food for 1 day. It doesn't bother me. Their Agni may not be that strong. So everybody's Agni is different. And that's why same calories produce different effect in different individual. We always carry, oh, I'm on 1500 calorie diet, I'm on 2000 calorie diet. But those calories are going to be processed in your body differently. And that's why instead of just counting calories, you have to pay attention how good your Agni is, because that Agni is going to make all the difference. I hope I emphasize enough on your mind about this concept of Agni. Look at this cute baby. Maybe his mom is going to bring him very yummy food. So when in Marathi people, in Marathi language, we always say before we start eating food, we always say, Vadani kavalageta. So the last 2 lines are, Jivana kari jivitva, anna he purna brahma, udara bharana no he janize yajna karma. And that means jivitva means for the beings, living beings. To live this life, food is the Brahman, food is the soul, and that food has to have the soul. It's not just the empty calories. It's not only frozen food or processed food or canned food, just counting the calories, but it has to have the prana in it. It has to have the soul in it. Then only is going to feed our body and mind and our soul. And remember, when you eat, eating is not udara bharana nohe. It's not just filling the bag. It's not filling your stomach, but consider that as doing yajna. Think about if you want to do any surgery, how meticulous and how important steps, sterile steps we take care of that. So when we eat, the food also should be, we should do all the rituals as if we are doing the yajna. And think about when we are working so hard, why? That we eat good food, we enjoy, we stay healthy, enjoy our life. And do we have time to eat? We take a bite. We eat on the run. We eat while we are working. We eat whenever something we don't have time and we just take few minutes and we eat. But here exactly opposite. And now at least we have time. Young people are so busy, but at least we have time. We are retired, we are in our golden years. So make sure that you sit down, eat, set the dining table, because when you are eating, you are not just eating, you are eating with all the 5 senses. The food should look good, food should sound good, it has to smell good, it has to taste good and all that. So make sure that you do that as a yajna. Even Dr. Koop, the past Surgeon General, what he said, that no disease can be cured unless supplemented by right diet. But about 90% of the diseases can be prevented by diet alone. And which is this diet? It is the Prakriti specific diet. If you start eating according to your Prakriti, then you can prevent most of the diseases, and how important it is. And that's why right foods and optimum digestion create health. And the word is hidden here. Let me just reduce this. And the wrong foods and weak digestion cause the disease. So always remember that eating and digesting the food well is very, very, very important. Then here are the 3 pictures of the Agni. So you will see here the left side picture is the optimum Agni. It's going to digest food very well and all. In the middle is the weak Agni. So even if you are eating, it's not going to digest food well. Then what happens? If the food is not digested, then undigested food becomes very heavy, sticky, bubbly and all. And this will clog many channels and will cause the disease. If you have this picture on the right side, if it is very high Agni, then it will burn everything. Then you may get ulcers, you may get bleeding conditions and all that. So our goal is to keep this Agni at the optimum stage. Very important. Then again, there are 6 tastes in the food. So why our Indian food tastes so good? It is not high in calories. It doesn't have much cheese and it doesn't have heavy creams and all that. But why it tastes so good? Because we incorporate all these 6 tastes in the food. And those 6 tastes are sweet, everybody knows it. Sour, you know it. Salty, you know it. Pungent is eating spicy food like chilies or garlic or ginger. Spices, that is pungent. Astringent is which makes your mouth kind of pucker. Like suppose you eat raw banana and you will see that all your mucous membrane is kind of puckered and sometimes you may not even able to speak better. Or if you eat a fruit peel, also is very astringent. The tree bark also is very astringent. And you all know the bitter taste. So these are the 6 tastes, and think about it. When we cook any food, we always add some jaggery or some sugar to that. We squeeze a lemon or we add tamarind or we add tomatoes, so there is sour taste. We always add some salt to the food. We always have some spices like chilies or garlic or ginger. Also, mustard seeds are also very pungent in nature and all that. And the astringent like cumin, coriander, fennel, all these seeds also have little astringent taste to that. And the bitter, we add some methi seeds, or even turmeric has some pungent, bitter, astringent taste. So our food is a combination of all these 6 tastes, and that's why it tastes very delicious. But these tastes are not only for the flavor, but they are also medicinal. And that's why the sweet taste, and for everything, I forgot to add the Panchamahabhutas here, but the sweet taste is made up of earth and water element, so they are heavy. So it helps to build the tissues in the body and reduces the dryness. If you have dry hacking cough, just some sugar water if you drink, that dryness will go away and you will be able to, hey, you will feel better. You will suppress your cough. Sour taste. Sour taste always stimulates our digestive enzymes and aids digestion. So in our food, there is always some tamarind or lemon or tomatoes or something. And its Mahabhuta is earth and fire Mahabhuta. And the salty taste also helps to improve digestion. It relieves spasms. It also relieves gas and bloating. And salty taste is made up of earth and water and fire element. I forgot to add those Mahabhutas there. Pungent taste definitely improves digestion. These days, even they come up with a medicine called capsaicin from the chilies that reduces pain and all. So it helps improves your digestion, reduces congestion. Like ginger, I gave you the example. Is if you take ginger is very pungent, so it will reduce your congestion. If you take black pepper, it will reduce your congestion. If you add little bit chili powder in your food, it will reduce your congestion and improve digestion. Then the astringent taste is very unique, and we use it only not everyday use, but mainly in some diseases, especially when there is a lot of bleeding conditions like IBS and all those things, or somebody is having loose motions. We use astringent taste because it stops the flow, stops bleeding, stops loose motions and all that. That is very medicinal. And bitter also, we know that all the leafy greens, mostly we call bitter greens or methi or those kind of things, or karela we use a lot, or we use aloe. So those things are very bitter and they help to detoxify the body and purify the blood also. So definitely, I know somebody may be asking, what about bitter chocolate? Yes, you can have one piece of bitter chocolate. It's not a problem. But when you finish the whole bar, then it becomes a problem. So all these 6 tastes have the healing properties, and we use it a lot in Ayurvedic practice. So here I just wanted to tell you a little bit more about the test too. So I told you that eating is very important and digesting is equally important. So what are the food guidelines about eating? So eat according to your life stage and Prakriti. So I mentioned to you, we all are into Vata stage of life, and that's why the Vata qualities are cold, dry, light. So we should be eating moist foods and all. So accordingly, we should be eating, knowing our Prakriti and knowing our life stage, we have to make those changes. Then another important thing is eat only 3 meals a day and zip your lips in between. So you can eat breakfast in the morning around 7 to 8. You can have lunch to noon to 1 p.m. and you can have your dinner 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. So those are the 3 ideal meal times according to Ayurveda. And it's always true that doing the right thing at the right time. So you may feel that, oh, I'll eat breakfast around 10, 11. So I'll eat my lunch around 3 p.m. and eat my dinner around 9:30, 10, where most of the Indian people eat, which is very wrong. So doing the right thing at the right time is important. And these are the right times for that. Again, why I said that eating light breakfast, lunch is a good meal, main meal, and eating dinner light, because Ayurveda goes by nature. Sun is at the peak in the afternoon. So is our digestive enzymes are very strong in the afternoon. So eat main meal during that time. In the morning, the weather is cold. In the evening, the weather is not that hot. So eat light breakfast and light dinner. Let me give you another important reason why 3 meals a day and zip your lips in between. For example, you eat anything, it takes about 5 to 6 hours to pass through your whole digestive system. If you eat in the morning around 7, then after 5 hours, you are eating your lunch. Let me give you an example. If in your washing machine, you are doing the laundry. So when you start, you put your dirty clothes, you start the water, you add the detergent, and you close the lid. Until your machine goes through all cycles of washing, you do not even open the lid. You don't throw the dirty laundry every 5 or 10 minutes. Why? Because it will not go through all the cycles of washing. Same thing. If you keep on eating, if you keep on munching, eating every hour, every 2 hours something, then your body is not going to digest that food well, because some food is at the different stage of digestion, and again you are eating. So your body, you will have a lot of digestive issues if you keep on munching, eating every 1 hour, every 2 hours and all that. So Ayurvedically, the guideline, we always recommend people eat 3 meals and zip your lips in between. Only if you have a problem between lunch and dinner and you feel very hungry, then I would recommend you can just eat a fruit, because don't mix the fruit with your meal, but eat a fruit alone by itself. So around 4 o'clock or so, you can eat a fruit, you can have a cup of tea, but that's not like a main kind of the heavy meal. But main thing for the meals, these are the 3 ideal times. And if you follow these, you will really see, you will improve your digestion much better way. Then also pay attention to your state of Agni. Do not eat because it's time to eat. Just pay attention how hungry you are. Always watch your tongue. Your tongue is showing. If you have white coated tongue, that means your body is not processing food that well. If you are very hungry, and if you follow these 3 times, definitely you will feel hungry at these meal times, and your Agni is ready to digest all the food you are going to eat. If you feel dull, if you feel heavy, if you feel bloated, then eat very light or even skip a meal. That's what the fasting is, big thing in our culture, that if you are not feeling very hungry, then eat according to how you feel, and vary the quantities or vary the qualities of the food, or sometimes even you can skip one meal, but pay attention to your digestive Agni. And if you follow these 3 times meal and eat at right foods, then definitely you will feel hungry and your Agni will also be in the optimum state. Then eat all the food groups. Very important. And these days we hear about eating only high protein diet. In old days, we were talking about no fat diet, but now they are realizing that some amount of fat is essential. Carbs are also essential. Carbs give you the quick energy. Carbs also help you for elimination. Carbs give you the good kind of bulk to your stools. And carbs also balance your body. Think about when we eat rice and chapati and all that, that was our main staple. And even around the world, that is also the main staple. So what I would recommend to you is eat all the food groups in the right proportion, but don't completely avoid or omit certain food group. Eat all, they are very important. Then chew each bite 32 times. And what does it mean? We have 32 teeth. So chew each bite 32 times. That means take time to chew the food. Remember, your digestion starts in the mouth. If you chew a piece of chapati or a slice of bread in your mouth, it will start tasting sweet because your saliva also have digestive enzymes. And remember, your taste buds are only in the mouth. They are not in your stomach. So if you want to enjoy food, if you want to really notice the taste and the flavors in the food, then chew it longer. Let your saliva mix in it and let that digestion begin in your mouth. Take time. Don't just take a bite. Don't finish your meal in 3 minutes or 5 minutes. Take at least 20 minutes to eat. Very important. And do not munch, do not eat on the go, do not take a bite. I mentioned about make it as a yajna. So pay attention to your eating. When you eat in between, if you are just having a cheese and cracker, and again after some time, couple of hours you want to eat a fruit, and then again you want to open the bag of chips, and then again you want 1 or 2 cookies, and then again you are going to eat something. So all that munching, if you keep on eating every hour, every 2 hours, your body is not going to digest food. And that undigested food in Ayurveda we call as ama, and ama becomes the cause of most of the diseases. Your high cholesterol is also ama. Your high sugar is also ama. But undigested food, which is circulating in the body, causes most of those diseases. So always pay attention to when you are eating, how you are eating, and all that. Then few more guidelines are food should be fresh, it's in prana. And that's what I said. Eating fresh food is so rich in prana, and you want to have that prana for your own prana. If the food is very stale, if you cook it once a week, and if you keep on just warming that food in the microwave and eating it, all the pranas are lost. So you have to eat freshly cooked food. And now remember, we have plenty of time. Make your priority so that will happen. Then set the specific time and place. Even we all know that there was Pavlov's experiment, that when that dog used to hear the bell, all his digestive juices used to just secrete. Same thing, when we have specific time, when we have specific place and all that, our digestive juices start secreting and we start digesting food better. Then eat local and seasonal vegetables and fruit. And here I want to emphasize more on local, I will talk, but more seasonal. In India, remember, we used to eat mangoes only in April and May, and we used to eat certain foods like raw chana and all only in February. So we always used to eat seasonal because Mother Nature knows it all. Mother Nature produces the fruits and vegetables which are balancing to those seasons. All the watermelon, cantaloupe, all the melons are very cooling, and we get those during summertime. We get all the ginger and all those spice, turmeric and all spices in spring because we need to spice up our life during springtime. We get all the persimmon and pomegranate and all during fall time, and all the pumpkins and squashes more because they are grounding and they help to balance our vata dosha. So even if you don't know what your dosha is, but if you start going to the farmer's market and buy what is seasonal, then you are doing good for yourself. But unfortunately, in our grocery store, we get mangoes year around, we get melons year around, everything is year around. And it comes from Mexico, comes from India, comes from Australia, anywhere. But seasons in those countries are different. So it's always try to eat local and try to eat seasonal. And why it is important to eat local? Because whatever weather pattern we are exposed to, the wind and the sun and the moisture and all that, and the produce which is grown locally also get exposed to the same environment. And that's why it is more healing and it is more balancing. Very important. Then fast 1 day a week. Give your digestive system some time to digest all that leftover food. Your tongue should not be white. You should be feeling very hungry. You should be feeling more energetic. So if you skip not a whole day, but at least if you skip one meal, that will help you to digest all the leftover and you will feel more energetic later on. And all our ancestors also created that I am Shiva Bhakta, so I'll fast on Monday. I'm Ganesha Bhakta, I'll fast on Tuesdays and all. But this fasting is important. Mainly it is health related because that gives our digestive system to get into balance again and there is no leftover causing more ama in the system and the disease. Very important. Then bless your food before eating. See how at the subtle level Ayurveda goes, because that food is sacrificing its life to become our food. So don't waste any food. Bless that food, whatever you are eating, because that food is going to make your life. That food is going to nourish your mind and soul. So it is very important to bless that food. And also eat very mindfully. So when you make this as a ritual, if you eat mindfully, then only you are going to notice the flavor and taste in the food. If you are watching TV and eating something, you are not eating. If you are working and eating like a bag of chips next to you, you are not eating. It's not mindful. If you want to enjoy that food, if you want to savor that taste, then you have to eat mindfully. Then only will make the difference. And tonight, you can experiment with this. Just eat one grape or a piece of fruit. Just talking to somebody or watching TV. And then close your eyes and eat one more piece of fruit or a grape by closing your eyes. And all of a sudden, you will become so aware of the taste and the flavor and the juice of that fruit in it. That all is because of the mindfulness. And that's why if you learn to eat mindful or do anything mindfully, all of a sudden the quality of your life will improve. And feed somebody before you eat. Look here, the picture, that bird is feeding, and that bird is eating the bird seeds from that person's hand. So feed your pet before you eat. If you don't have pet, then sprinkle some bird seeds in your backyard. So let those birds eat. You can water your plants. So think about any life and just feed that soul before you eat. It's kind of helping each other to live healthily. So you can see how in-depth Ayurveda goes, and you will never hear these kind of food guidelines or healthy tips. But if you incorporate at least few at a time, you will start seeing the effect on your mind and your body, and you want to do few more things. Then here is the Ayurvedic meal plan. So if, people always, I sent you the questionnaire, if you come up with your Prakriti, and if you are major predominantly Kapha Prakriti, then the qualities of Kapha are heavy, cold and moist. And then you have to incorporate those as light, warm, and dry qualities. So the food should be lighter in taste. It should not be very heavy. Otherwise, you will gain more weight and all. So we recommend it based on your prakriti. Breakfast should be toast because it's light, and black pepper. Again, the spice, it will create lightness in the body. If you eat khakra, khakra is very dry. It has also some spices to that. Paratha also has some spices to that. Ginger tea, cinnamon tea. So you can see that food is light and it's warm in nature. So it will create the balance in the body. Same thing with the lunch and dinner. I just wanted to give you some examples of it. We don't have much time, so I'm just going to go a little bit faster. And you will have all these slides with you. I'm going to send you the presentation. Then for Pitta dosha, Pitta is very hot. And that's what we recommend them to mildly spicy food. Some cooling but mildly bland food. That means mildly spicy foods. So they can eat milk and cereal. They can eat shira, they can eat pohe, upma. These are Indian examples of that. And lunch and dinner, they should eat small salad. Small salad will help them cool their body and just curb their appetite a little because they have very strong appetite. And the food should be mildly spicy food, sabji or green leafies, root vegetables and all, but they should be mildly spicy food. And a snack, they could eat a sweet, pulpy, seasonal fruit, coconut water because it is cooling, coconut drink, it is also cooling. So pitta is only hot, and for them, these people, we recommended bland and more cooling foods. Then for the vata prakriti, if you are predominantly vata, then vata is dry, cold and light, and you have to balance it with moist, warm and dense. So for kapha dosha, I mentioned to eat toast, but for vata dosha, I am saying oatmeal or cream of wheat. So the food is moist and food is dense because they are very lightweight, light in nature, very dry. So they need that moistness and warmth in the food. So oatmeal, warm cereal, or French toast, because why it is a toast, but it is very soggy. And that's why it is good for vata dosha, or grits, or some kind of kheer and all. So those foods are good for vata dosha. Again, they will have a lot of, instead of salad, they can have soups and stews and all that. So based on prakriti, that is what we mainly balance these qualities and then give them different examples of how they should balance their foods. Here, I just want to give you one example about how wrong food can cause the disease. Okay. So Mary, a school teacher, complained about swollen and painful joints, allergies, weight gain, and foggy mind. So she had so many symptoms. She was prescribed anti-inflammatory for joint pain, anti-allergy for allergies, anti-anxiety for her foggy mind and all. But she didn't see much improvement. So after a few months, she decided to try Ayurveda. And that's what she was eating. His breakfast was cereal with yogurt, banana, strawberry. So very sweet and heavy breakfast. Then lunch, also bag of chips, which is very salty. That will help make her retain water. Cookie is sweet, can of soda, also like a sweet. Then snack, candies, cookies, chips. Again in the afternoon, she was eating all these round foods. And in the evening, she was eating hamburger or pasta, pizza, and some salad and all that. But pasta, pizza is also heavy in cheese and calories and all that. Lifestyle, wake up, rush to school, come home around 6 p.m., watch TV, and bedtime was at midnight. So Ayurvedically, when we look at this person, her prakriti, first I evaluated her prakriti was mainly kapha. And she started new jobs, so eating habits and lifestyles were changed. And that's why our kapha increased. So yogurt, banana, strawberries, sweet, sour, so increased kapha dosha. Bag of chips, cookies, can of soda, salty, sweet, increased kapha dosha. Candies, cookies, chips, increased kapha. Lack of exercise, increased kapha. So her prakriti was kapha and she was eating everything that was aggravating kapha dosha. And then she had allergies, she had weight gain, her mind was foggy, the mind became very heavy and all that. So her recent changes in the diet. So I recommended whatever I showed you earlier is light foods and all that. I recommended that. with kapha balancing meal plan and adding 30 minutes walk every day and herbal formula with trikatu and guggul, which are very heating herbs, reduced her allergies, joint pain almost 60 to 70% in couple of months, and she even lost 6 pounds. So here what I want to show you that along with you may be taking medicine, but along with it, food is very important, because in my practice, I see that most of the time, the wrong diet and lifestyle is the cause of the disease. And unless you remove the cause, your disease will not get better. You will not heal. So you always have to pay attention to the diet. Okay, so that's enough about food. Now, the second important thing for our life is water. And we know how much is the water on the earth? Almost 3/4. How much is water in our body? Almost 3/4. Because we are the as above, so below. We are the microcosm of the whole macrocosm. So same percentage of water, the actual quantity will vary, but same percentage of water we need, because like water is essential for the body. You can live without food for a week, but we cannot live without water even for 3-4 days. Water is very, very important. And everything in the body flows through the blood, flows through the plasma. So that is the water. Water carries blood cells, hormones, nutrients, everything, nourishes the organs, removes the waste and all that. Everything happens in the water content. And that's what water is very, very essential for us. So people always ask me how much Ayurveda recommends how much water to drink. So how much you lose? Generally, our urinary output is 1 liter, that is 4 cups. So Ayurveda recommends roughly, again, that will vary according to Prakriti, but mainly 5 to 6 glasses per day is adequate. If you are exercising a lot, then you may need a couple more glasses. If your body is very dry, you may need more glasses. But overall, this much is water is enough, and drinking too much water will weaken your digestive enzymes. It will make your body swell. It causes mineral loss. You will get a swelling in the body. It may even increase your blood pressure. Because what happens, we drink water, but we also eat too much salt. And that salt makes you retain water, and all these problems happen. So how should we, again, tips about the water. Ayurvedically, it's ideal to drink lukewarm or room temperature water. I would recommend in fall, early winter, late winter and spring, drink lukewarm water. Only during summertime, drink room temperature or little cool water, but always stay away from ice cold water. Then here is the regimen, how you can drink the water. Drink 1 glass right after waking up on empty stomach. Then 1 glass 1 hour after breakfast, 1 hour after lunch, and 1 hour after dinner, and 1 at night. So those are 5 glasses. And I also mentioned that if you exercise a lot, then you can drink after half an hour, you can drink 1 glass and all that. Then sip water, do not gulp. Let your saliva mix in the water. It is very important. Then if you have a copper container, definitely keep the water in that copper container at night and drink in the morning. Copper strengthens your immune system, reduces inflammation, kills bacteria. It has a good effect on the body. Only it has to have the pure copper. Then never drink right after or right before eating meals. Why? Your digestive agni will be put off. It will become, digestive enzymes will weaken and they will not digest food well. So it is very important to drink 1 hour after your meals. If you want to flavor the milk, water, you can do that with lemon, mint, or any other natural flavor. You can do that. Even during summertime, you can put 1 flower of mogra, that mallige in South India they call. You can put it, it will quench your thirst even more than adding ice. Just stay away from ice. If you ask me one tip, healthy tip, then I will tell you stay away from ice, because it kills your agni. If your digestion is weak, then you will have all the other problems. So stay away from ice. Do not store water in the plastic bottles. Always remember at the bottom, there is a number. There will be a triangle, and in that triangle, there will be a number. And that number is 1, 2, 3. Then that is very thin plastic. So those chemicals leach in the water. And if you keep that bottle in the car or somewhere in the heat, then all the chemicals get there, and maybe you are consuming those chemicals too, along with the water. So use the glass container, use the metal container, but don't use the plastic containers. So we talked a lot about the food, and we also talked about water and all the rituals about the food. So what things you have to remember is food choices according to your prakriti and according to the season are the right foods. And always remember, like increase like and opposite balance each other. So use the opposite quality to balance whatever the problem is. Pay attention to your Agni. White coating on the tongue is a sign of Ama. If your tongue is white, you have to pay attention. Your body is not digesting food well. Drink enough water, but room temperature or warm water. And follow Ayurvedic guidelines. And I know all the guidelines, you will not change all your habits, but start with 1 or 2. And if you follow that, you will start seeing some changes in you, and then add couple more. So slowly but surely, consistency is very important. If you follow that, you will really see the difference in you. And I want to end today's seminar with these 2 lines. And both the lines are exactly same. There is only 1 letter different. Pathe sati gadartasya bheshajam grahanena kim, and pathe asati gadartasya bheshajam grahanena kim. So the meaning of the first line, pathya, that means if you are going to follow the dietary guidelines, then why do you need medicine? And second line is, if you are not going to follow the pathya, not going to follow the food guidelines, then what is medicine going to do? How powerful and how profound these 2 lines are, that if you follow the food, follow the food guidelines, you don't need medicine. And if you are not going to follow it, only medicine is not going to be helpful. You have to follow the pathya. You have to follow these dietary guidelines if you want to really heal well, if you want to cure your disease, and if you want to stay healthy. Okay, and here is my information. If anybody wants to get in touch with me, then you can call my office at 469-763-8500, or you can send me the email j@dfwveda.com. So we can connect each other, and I will help you with any of your problems. Okay, so what I will do, I'll stop the share.
Very informative, Dr. Apte. And
Okay.
I have a couple of questions here.
Okay.
The first one is, what kind of sesame oil should I use for cooking?
Okay, if you just buy any organic sesame oil, toasted oil, that is good for cooking. And sesame oil, as I said last time, is warming in nature. So mainly you use it during fall, early winter, and springtime. During summertime, it will be a little bit warm for you. You can use maybe coconut oil if you like the smell, or you can use any other oil, vegetable oil.
Okay, our next question is, what is the cure for dry hair and brittle nails?
Okay, last time, I don't remember if I told you or not, but your nails, your hair, and your teeth, all the 3 are related to bone. Okay, so if you're falling hair, if your nails are very brittle, that means you need more natural, more foods which will increase your calcium and minerals and vitamin and all that. So incorporate that. I have sent you the handout for the foods which are rich in natural calcium. So you can incorporate those foods.
Anything for anxiety?
Okay, so anxiety is your mind becomes very restless. So you want to ground your mind. For that, eating warm foods and especially using all the root vegetables and complex carbs are very beneficial because complex carbs are heavy in nature, and all the root vegetables because they grow near the ground or in the ground. So squashes, pumpkins grow near the ground, and all the root vegetables grow in the ground. So they are very grounding. So those kind of foods will help you a lot. And there is kind of the herbs like Brahmi, Shankhapushpi. They are very calming. You can take those herbs at night, or even one cup of warm milk, 1 teaspoon ghee in it. If you drink that at night, that will also help you to promote sound sleep and your anxious mind.
Okay.
Dr. Apte,
What to
Yes.
do? Yes.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. What to do for eczema and very dry skin?
If you just have the plain dry skin, then definitely you massage your skin with sesame oil every day, warm sesame oil every day. But if you have eczema, then I have created a good cream for that, and that helps a lot. But also eczema happens because there's dryness in the body. So just applying that eczema cream outside may not help, but you need to incorporate more moist foods and more sesame oil and ghee in your diet.
And now
Ma'am,
there is,
can I,
yes.
He has one question, Hema. Yes.
Okay.
uh,
Go
can
ahead.
I add to that same question,
Yes.
psoriasis?
Okay. Psoriasis is different. It's very different than eczema. But
Okay.
psoriasis happens, my experience is becomes more related to ama in the system.
Okay.
So give me a call at the office and I will tell you what needs to be done.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What should we do for hair fall?
Okay, just now I mentioned about, right, that hair fall.
No, you said about dry hair.
No, but hair fall also is part of that.
Okay.
Okay, the hair becomes very dry and then they fall off. Again, just massage your scalp with coconut oil because we hardly do that. But our hair follicles need to be kind of massaged. So don't just put the oil on the hair, but go deeper inside and massage the scalp cells with that warm coconut oil. So that will strengthen your hair roots, and always pay attention to what you are eating. And at this age, you need a little bit more calcium-rich foods.
Is there a medicinal value for Shatavari oil?
Yes, Shatavari has very strengthening effect on the body, but it is cooling in nature. So generally, we recommend people to take Shatavari powder with milk instead of using the oil.
Okay.
Many experts are recommending dairy-free meals. That is no milk, no yogurt, butter or cheese. Is this good?
So Ayurveda is very high on milk because milk has some carb in it, it has protein in it, it has fat in it. So it is very kind of balancing to the body. And in India, we used to get like a good milk. And that's why, and Ayurvedically from newborn onward, even small children drink plenty of milk. But here we have so many problems with the milk. But I've seen some A2 milk is much better than regular milks. And I would recommend, I drink whole milk. I don't do 2%, 4%. I don't take out something, taking out something, adding. I don't like all that adulterated things. So if you can get like a, and in California, people used to get like a cow's milk. In the farm, they used to raise the cows and they used to sell the milk. If you in Texas, if you get, or in your city, if you get that kind of milk, that's great. But otherwise, you can buy organic milk and substitute for that.
What food should we eat for asthma and COPD?
Okay, so asthma, if it is related to kapha dosha, that means your body is producing more phlegm. then you should be eating more kapha balancing foods. And remember, all these diseases, you don't try to take care of it at home, okay? So definitely, if you see a nearby Ayurvedic doctor, Ayurvedic practitioner, get in touch with them, or I do it Zoom consultation, so call me and we'll take care of that. Here in these presentations, we are talking about as a preventive tips, but
Yes.
don't try to take your health disease in your hands. Take your health in your hands, but not the disease.
I read somewhere that recommending that according to Ayurvedic principle, you should not drink water during or after the meal for 1 hour because your Jathara Agni is light up during that time. Is that true?
Yeah, that's what all this whole hour I was talking about. That
Yes.
I will, when I mentioned about Agni, that is, it has different names. It has the name Jathara Agni, or we call Pachaka Pitta and all, but that is the Agni. And remember, that's why just before the meal also, we should not be eating. But remember, if your food is very dry, if you're just eating like a dry sandwich or dry hamburger or something, then what do we, when we offer prasad to God, what do we do? Madhye paniyam samarpayami. So you can have 1 or 2 sips in between. The idea is if your food is semi-solid, semi-liquid, you don't need any water during the meal. You can drink after 1 hour. But if your food is very dry, then to make it little liquid, you can have 1 or 2 sips. But I think about the idea. If your food is well moist, you are eating like dal and rice and sabji with some sauce to that, you don't need any water in between. Okay?
Can
That
I
makes
Yes,
sense.
that Desai, she has some questions. She's raising the hand.
I just wonder what do you recommend the sesame oil to put in the ear once a week, every day for tinnitus?
If you do it every day, that is also better for you. Especially for seniors, do it every day. For young people, you can do it 2-3 times a week.
Okay.
That also helps. And only 5 drops of sesame oil does not clog the ear, or people are worried, or it may cause infection and all. No, it does not. It
Okay.
just lubricates the ear canal. And Ayurvedically, that is the seat of Akasha element. So Akasha and Vayu elements are for Vata. So for Vata people, generally they have ringing in the ears or dry ear and all. So putting 5 drops of sesame oil is very beneficial. Even they will sleep sound with that.
Well, thank you very much. You have been great.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. I take 1 glass of warm water around 7 a.m.
Mhm.
Should I add lemon or ginger or turmeric or something else in it?
If you are okay with plain water, just go ahead and drink plain water. But if you want to just, if you have a little bit kind of mucus or phlegm in your system, or then you can add ginger powder in it. Ginger, turmeric, lemon, and all are going to have a good effect. They will intensify the qualities in that water. So you can do that. And lemon water also is very good. Lot of people have acidity in the morning. They get sour liquid and all in their mouth. So drinking 1 glass of water and squeeze a half a lemon in it, or quarter lemon based on the size, that is also beneficial even for acidity.
Okay, there are 2 questions here. Nimi Shaha wants to ask you a question.
Okay.
The sesame oil that you said for massaging and for putting in the ear and for
Yes.
oil pulling, is
Yes.
it the same one that we use for cooking, or that's a different kind?
See, in Indian store, what you get is kind of, it has the jaggery in it. They call gingerly oil or something. But on Amazon, you can order organic oil, and it is very good quality oil. You can use it that for cooking and also for the massage too.
Okay, because the one that I use for cooking it, I mean, it for like the Asian cooking, it's like you can smell the sesame oil and everything. So that is fine to use, right?
That is fine too. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And Alka has a question for you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi, Dr. Apte. I
Hello.
just had a quick question. You mentioned that we shouldn't be having water 1 hour after the meal.
Hmm.
Well, I'm taking some herbal medication that you had prescribed after meals. So should I wait an hour after meal to
No,
take the
it is-
medication?
Remember, that water is just to swallow the capsules. So you can
Okay, so just
have
I can
one-
take
one
it in a
sip,
small,
one sip,
one
one
sip
sip.
of water and have
Yes.
it. Okay,
Yes,
okay. All right.
because in
Thank
the
you so much.
presentation we talk about it's kind of just prevention.
Got
Okay,
it.
and here also
Yes.
I won't recommend you to drink a whole glass. It's just one sip or two sips to swallow the capsules.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can you suggest what food you eat or avoid to minimize what food you should eat to minimize the dark spots, pigmentation?
Many times those pigmentation spots happen because of if your liver is not functioning well, or sometimes we get aging spots. The skin becomes very dry. So if those are because of the aging, you can just massage your skin with sesame oil and many of those spots will go away. But if you add some bitter in your food, like if you add few methi seeds in your diet, or if you eat some karela, or there are some bitter herbs I recommend in my clinic. And if you add those bitters, then many times your liver starts functioning better. Even amla is excellent for your liver. Okay, so when you get in Indian grocery store, you can take that amla, that will also help.
Anita Nigam, she has a question there.
Okay.
Hi, doctor. Just now you were
What
So
happened?
she muted herself.
Oh. Okay, let me read the next question
Okay.
till she comes back. Westerners say have a heavy breakfast, small lunch, and light dinner.
Yeah.
Why is this difference in eating philosophy? They say after we wake up, we will need to eat heavy as the body needs high energy.
Okay. Our experience is typical weekend, if you eat heavy breakfast, how will you feel? Will you feel more energetic? Because body needs more energy to digest all the food and you will become heavy. Okay. So Ayurveda goes by the nature cycle. Sun is the representation of Pitta in the nature. So when the sun is at the peak in the afternoon, so are our digestive system is very strong in the afternoon. In the morning, the sun is cooler. In the evening, the sun is cooler. So we always recommend to eat light breakfast, good lunch, and light dinner. That is Ayurvedic way of reasoning.
Okay. I have dry mouth and some sores every now and then in the mouth. Is this due to eating high Agni foods?
Yes, if you have sores in the mouth, that is because of excess pitta, excess heat in the mouth. So just apply ghee, homemade ghee in your mouth and see if it gets better. If that doesn't stop, then maybe mix some licorice powder, that is mulhatti, or in Marathi we call jeshtamad. So if you mix half teaspoon of licorice powder in ghee and apply that, that will also heal the sores in the mouth and it will not make your mouth dry.
Is Anita back? She can ask her question.
yeah, I'm back. I just
Okay.
wanted to tell that just now you were telling doctor that sesame oil to put in the ear.
Yes.
My ear is very dry. Even if I put my finger, my skin comes out, dry skin. So sesame oil is good, or almond oil or mustard oil. Which one is I should put?
Mustard oil is tremendously heating. Just use warm sesame oil, lukewarm sesame oil. That will help.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And will you please recommend which sesame oil is good for massage and put
You
in the
call
ear?
my office. I have a very good sesame oil. If you are all worried, then I have excellent quality sesame oil to sell for sale.
So will you please, you can send it to Canada? Because I'm in Canada.
Oh, no, Canada is always a challenge. No, you can buy it there.
Yes,
I'm never going to get involved in other countries because it takes a lot of work.
supplement which I can buy from Amazon?
Yeah, you can buy from on Amazon. Yes.
Which one? Which one is good?
Buy organic sesame oil.
Okay, there's one I saw, it is written toasted sesame oil.
Yes, that is good too.
Oh, that is so
That-
organic or toasted, whatever I get.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. It was
Thank
very
you.
important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next question is, what happens when you drink water or tea multiple times to your Agni?
So what happens? Agni becomes weak because digestive enzymes they are in the fluid nature in the body, and when you are drinking, you are diluting them, and that's why if the Agni becomes weak, then it's not going to digest food well, and it will create more ama.
Okay, we also heard that 5 small meals instead of 3 meals.
Yes. And that is true. That is exactly opposite in Ayurveda, because here we always hear that every 2 hours you have to eat something. But Ayurvedically, that is very, very wrong. And let me give you one example. I had one client and he had gout arthritis. And he said, oh, I heard that I have to eat every 2 hours. And it made so much sense. So he was eating a piece of chicken every 2 hours. And what happened? He had excessive uric acid in the system and he had gout. So people really take that kind of thing in the wrong way. Okay. So Ayurvedically, we emphasize so much on digestion previous food, and it takes about 5 to 6 hours. And this is our practice. This is our experience. If you eat enough to feel yourself full, then you don't need to eat anything. You don't feel like eating anything every hour or two.
Salty, sour, and pungent food are pitta aggravating.
Yes.
Should pitta prakriti people always avoid these foods?
Yes, because pitta already have heat in them. That's why if they start eating like a spicy curries and lot of pickles and all that fried food, that will definitely aggravate pitta in the body and they will have some health issues. So we always recommend mildly spicy food for them. And the spices like cumin, coriander, fennel, cardamom, coconut, cilantro, those are mildly spicy foods. So we recommend those kind of foods, which are more astringent and bitter rather than pungent.
Okay, and my last question here is, I have heard of taking CCFT 5 times a week, all throughout the day. Do
Okay.
you recommend that, and how does it help?
Okay, mainly CCF means what? Cumin, coriander, and fennel. And because of the qualities and the taste in them, they reduce inflammation in the body. So drinking throughout the day, if they have a lot of inflammation, then they may have recommended to drink throughout the day. But if you want to, instead of plain water, if you drink CCFT, that will be great too.
Won't root vegetables increase weight?
Yes, root vegetables, they're sweet in taste, right? And they're heavy in nature. So they will increase your heaviness in the body. But we recommend those to mainly Vata dosha people. And how are Vata people? They're very slim and slender and very thin bodied. I get few of the Vata patients in my clinic. Please mute yourself because you are disturbing other people.
Mute.
Veena and Alka, please mute yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So root vegetables are very heavy and we recommend those to mainly Vata dosha people, not Kapha people. But Pitta a little bit is okay, but for Kaphas, we don't recommend those a lot.
Okay. I have a couple of more questions.
Okay.
After lunch, I drink homemade buttermilk. Is it okay? I also have eczema.
Buttermilk is excellent. Buttermilk is called Amrut on the earth. Okay, so make a habit of drinking like a small glass of buttermilk, or they call chash. That is good. But it is not only water, but it has some kind of spices to that too. So that helps to improve digestion. and kind of make the consistency of the food, which will digest food better.
I get bitter taste in my mouth in the morning.
Mhm.
Why and what to do?
Okay, that means you may have pitta dosha a little bit more in your system. That's why you are getting bitter. So try drinking CCF tea. I have sent you the recipe to all of you about different herbal teas. So try that instead of plain water, and that may go away.
Do you advise taking Shatavari powder for hair fall?
I won't recommend only Shatavari powder for hair fall, but I have another herb called Maca. Maca is excellent for hair fall. And I've created a hair tonic formula, and it has good Ayurvedic herbs in it, and that helps many people. So a lot of them order that hair tonic formula from me. So Shatavari may help a little, but not too much.
Okay. Is doodh pohe
Okay.
acceptable breakfast?
Okay. First thing is doodh pohe, it should not be who is eating. That's the main thing. If it is pitta dosha, then they can eat that. If you are vata dosha, then warm that milk and then make the doodh and pohe. That will be good. But for kapha dosha, it will be totally contraindicated because that cold milk will aggravate kapha dosha. Pohe are also more ama creating. So they need something dry. So maybe they can eat some kande pohe or something which has some chili and all the things in it. That will work.
Brahmi Shankapushpi, how much quantity should we take? Can you use one or both together?
No, you can use both together because these herbs, it's like synergistic effect. 1 + 1 may not be 2, it could be 11. So Brahmi, Shankapushpi, there is one more herb called Jatamansi, and many of these herbs are available in Indian store these days. So you can mix all in equal quantity and take only 1/4 teaspoon at night, and that will help you more.
I think that's all I have here.
Okay, so it's almost 3.
Hi, actually, I have this sesame oil from Indian store,
Okay.
which is says 24 mantra organic. Is that good one? The brand is 24 mantra and it's
Mantra.
organic.
So if it is organic, then it will be good. I don't know.
Okay.
I cannot vouch for all these brands because
Okay.
I don't know brands, but if it is organic, then it will be good. And mainly, don't use processed oil a lot because processing just takes away all the good qualities and things.
Okay. It says unrefined, double filtered.
Then that is good. If it is unrefined, then that is good.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you for attending. And I know this is Mother's Day. You may have some plans for dinner and all. So enjoy your rest of the day. And next week, I'm going to talk about Dinacharya. That is the circadian rhythm and all that. Some more additional information and you will enjoy that too. So thank you and good night. Until next Sunday. Namaste.
Dr. Are
Namaste, thank you.
Yes.
Would you send this recording, please?
Yes, I will send the recording.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.